What's going on, everybody? John Matrix here. So we're checking out another SCP video here today. We are looking at the Exploring series again, and we're going to take a look at Exploring the SCP Foundation SCP-1000 Bigfoot. We are taking a look at Bigfoot. You know, this is one of the theories, or Bigfoot as a subject is one of the things that I was always interested in as a kid growing up, on whether or not it was real and the mysteries behind it. And there were a lot of, like, you know, kind of documentaries going back and forth one way or the other. Like, it was Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Like, growing up as a kid, those were always kind of the big mystery monster stories of whether they were real or not, and people trying to discover if they were real or not, and some people having evidence that was like indefutable, and then other people like debunking it, etc., etc. So speaking of, I wonder if the Loch Ness Monster actually is an SCP. I guess we'll find out as we go along. But anyway, so yeah, this is the Exploring series, Exploring the SCP Foundation SCP-1000 Bigfoot. As always, links will be down below in the description to the original channel and to this video without my commentary and reaction. We are doing this live right now, so if you would like to come hang out and join in the discussions that we have while I'm doing this live for my members, just click the join button down below. There's also a link to it in the description. If you would like to come and join and hang out, just see if any of those YouTube membership tiers have any benefit, have any interest for you. And yeah, come and hang out and join us. We'd love to see you guys and have you guys join our discussions. But for now, let's just get into this here video and learn about Bigfoot and what he or they could be as an SCP. Bada boom, bada bing.
SCP-1000 Bigfoot. The grand majority of SCPs contained by the Foundation are utterly unique concepts created by a group of highly creative writers. But every once in a while, one comes along based on an existing myth or story. A number of these fail to gain popularity, but some, such as SCP-1000, provide an interesting enough twist on the story to stick around. The basic folklore behind Bigfoot, or the Sasquatch, is well known to many people, and a bipedal ape creature that evades detection would likely be contained by the Foundation regardless, but SCP-1000 takes things in a very unique direction. SCP-1000 is a Keter-class skip, meaning it is quite difficult to reliably contain, and the containment procedures mention constant surveillance on any individuals or organizations that are looking into SCP-1000.
I wonder why it would be so difficult to contain. Is it just a situation where, like, its strength or whatever, like, keeps it from being contained? You know what I mean? It's able to just constantly break out. Is it one of those things where, like, it can only be seen at certain times or something? I don't know. I'm trying to devise before it gets further into the video why a creature like Bigfoot, if it is in fact a Sasquatch or, you know, the missing link or some kind of, you know, ape-like creature, why it would be so difficult to contain. And I can't really think of anything off the top of my head other than, like, it's just hard to capture in the first place, or its strength makes it difficult because it's always just able to break out and contain. But I mean, you would think that if they have creatures that are on like a godlike level that they're able to contain, that wouldn't be a problem. So I don't know. I couldn't really think off the top of my head other than just specifically trying to capture it is difficult. Why else would it be hard to contain? You know what I mean? Anyway, so I guess let's continue with the video and see if we get an answer to that.
More effort is made on the Foundation's part to conceal any information about SCP-1000 than to actually contain the entities themselves. The procedures also mention that no contact with any instance of SCP-1000 is to be done without approval by the project director, and in fact, any interaction whatsoever between SCP-1000 and humans is to be immediately reported to the director.
That's interesting that it goes all the way up to the director himself. Not even, like, I assume the SCP director is, like, above the council, potentially. You know what I mean? Like, he's the head man. But maybe he is just a member of the council, the O5 council or something. I don't know. That's interesting. But that tends to mean that it's pretty serious, right?
The description, of course, describes the physical appearance of SCP-1000 as you would expect, and also states their intelligence to be equivalent to a common chimpanzee.
Interesting.
Apparently, SCP-1000
Talking about the project director? Okay.
evolved along with chimpanzee. Apparently, SCP-1000 evolved alongside humans until roughly 10 to 15,000 years ago, when they contracted an anomalous disease that quickly wiped out 95 to 99% of their population. The disease is passed on genetically, but most instances of SCP-1000 that are born in present day are immune to its effects. The disease affects any hominid, notably humans, that views an instance of SCP-1000, directly or indirectly. There is a chance, that varies and increases based on a couple of factors, for the viewer to instantly die due to the permanent stopping of brain functions.
What the fuck?
This effect rapidly wiped out the population of SCP-1000, and the Foundation believes it possible for the disease to transfer to human carriers.
I mean, that would be a good reason why containment would be difficult, because no one can get close without dying. Like, if you just look at it, you just die. Or not even look at it. Like, if you just indirectly look at it, you just die. Okay. Okay. So instead of just containment, it's a situation where they're just like, prevent contact in general. That's like the best way to contain. Interesting.
And the Foundation believes it possible for the disease to transfer to human carriers, which would lead to an apocalyptic scenario.
Right.
The description continues to state that the highest populations of SCP-1000 are currently located in the Pacific Northwest of North America and the Himalayas, but there are instances located on every continent. Of course, those with level 3 clearance or higher are given a letter from the director, which reveals that almost everything I just told you is a lie.
Really?
Most importantly, there is no brain-killing disease, and SCP-1000 are actually as smart as humans are. That second statement is why the report is filled with lies, why there's such a big cover-up, and why SCP-1000 is labeled as Keter. SCP-1000 did evolve alongside us, with us operating in the daytime, earning us the title Children of the Sun, and them operating at night, with the title Children of the Night.
So they're kind of like our nocturnal cousins, essentially. Interesting.
We were not technological equivalents, however, and SCP-1000 were massively ahead of us. While we hunted and gathered, they developed cities, locomotives, planes, cell phones, atomic bombs.
Interesting.
And made things in ways we still don't understand.
So they weren't even, they were just an advanced, civilization of humanoids, essentially, that were just nocturnal. So, like, where are they then? Is this like going into like Hollow Earth shit? Do they like live underground and they've got their civilization underneath the earth, or they're down below? Is that where this is gonna go?
Part of this was due to their massive population growth, and they covered the planet in numbers reaching the tens of billions.
Really?
Meanwhile, there were only a few 100,000 of us, and we avoided them when we could. They also made efforts to avoid us, speaking of us in mythological terms, telling their children we would come and eat them if they were bad.
Interesting.
Then something happened. Exactly what and why are unclear at this point, but humanity banded together and wiped out SCP-1000 and their civilization.
Okay. How, interesting. So they controlled most of the planet. They had extreme advanced technology, probably even farther along than us. They had nukes, weapons of great warfare and destruction, but somehow a species of 10 billion with that kind of technology wasn't able to defeat us, a species of lesser technology and lesser numbers, like significantly lesser numbers. Interesting. I wonder what kind of occurrence that would be. Maybe that, again, I don't know if it would be something where like maybe a smallpox virus happened where we're immune to that and they're not, kind of, but I mean, they already went over that and saying like, that's just a cover story that there was, I don't know. Interesting.
Most notably set together. Exactly what and why are unclear at this point, but humanity banded together and wiped out SCP-1000 and their civilization, most notably 70% of their population in a single day, the Day of Flowers.
70% of 10 billion in a single day. That's insane. It's thought that we allied with the fairies against them. Don't worry, we'll get into them later. Interesting. Okay. Do you remember in the Davettes video those tree creatures that they turned into weapons? Yeah. They're originally, I do remember that reference. Originally thought to be children of the night of Bigfoot. They were very advanced. I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, we would have had to have allied with someone or something else in order to wipe out a species with numbers of tens of billions, when we only have hundreds of thousands and we're far less advanced than them. And to do 70% of their population in a single day, that's crazy. Honestly, also, they would have, I would assume they would have a great hatred for humanity then, in that case, being that we wiped them out and put them back basically kind of to the Stone Age. You know what I mean?
As for how, the only hint is that a trickster forest god gave us advanced weaponry and showed us how to use them.
Interesting.
But make of that what you will. Our ancestors' reasons for wiping them out are also unknown, but they went further than just killing them. They used SCP-1000's technology to drive them mad, restricting the survivors' higher brain functions and leaving them as little more than apes. We also obliterated their cities and their creations, and finally, wiped our own memories of SCP-1000 and what we had done.
Interesting.
A few humans retained their memories of what had happened, but most of humanity went back to hunting and gathering, and time ticked on. Now, the real danger is that SCP-1000 are regaining their lost intelligence, and the increase in sightings of them is cause for great concern.
They're back on the
Recently,
rise.
there was an attempt at communication from an instance of SCP-1000. Roughly translated, it read, "We forgive you. Given choice for now, not forever. Let us back in." It's unlikely that SCP-1000 would so easily forgive the atrocities our ancestors committed,
Right.
but time will tell. There are some mentions of the Children of the Night in other places, such as SCP-2932 being an ancient prison for the anomalous created during their time, but largely their story is contained in SCP-1000. It's unknown at this point if SCP-1000 will continue to make their presence more known, or if the Foundation will suppress them. But if they are as vindictive as humanity tends to be, we might have cause for concern.
I would say so. Interesting. Very fascinating. We have about 70% of SCP-1000's population in a single day, the Day of Flowers. The children called it supposedly every flower bloomed that day, while our enemies died in their sleep. But then we hunted the rest down. We wiped them from history and memory. We dissolved their civilization and we slaughtered most of their species. Just ask yourselves, if they got the chance, what more would they do to us? Like, for real. I mean, yeah, you know, you would think that there are species that is similar to us. They just happen to be nocturnal. And they evolved along with us. They were the apex species on the planet for a time, you know, creating great civilizations with super advanced technologies, you know, probably closer than we are to potentially going out into the stars. And then they get wiped out by probably what they would see as a lesser race, a lesser civilization, you know. They were in the tens of billions with super advanced technology. We were in the hundreds of thousands with, you know, probably Stone Age or maybe even Bronze Age kind of technology level, I would think, you know, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I wouldn't think they would be very warm or welcome to the idea of coexisting with humanity. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I would definitely want to know more as to why we kind of had that, like what caused humanity to want to fight and destroy them to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, were we, if it's the idea that some kind of forest trickster god talked us into doing it, you know, what is that? Why? What kind of reasoning would they have to want to use us to destroy them? and essentially lay the blame at us while keeping them, you know, I guess their hands clean kind of a situation. You know, you had mentioned that we had, I guess, allied with some kind of fairies or whatever, and, you know, used their technology to wipe them out. I'm pretty sure the Trickster Forest God is reference to a fairy. That's the vibe they have in SCP. So I mean, like, you know, it could, I guess they just wanted to do that because, you know, my idea of fairies is from D&D, and they're kind of like agents of chaos and whim, where they just, you know, do shit and have fun and, you know, don't care about the consequences. Fairies are another ancient race that was powerful at the time. Gotcha. So, I mean, yeah, they may have just they may have had a beef with the Bigfoot species, and they just used us as their way of getting to them. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. But it would still be like, again, I feel like some event would have had to have happened that would have wanted to drive us to do that. You know what I mean? Because even just having like a fairy being or something like that come to you and say like, hey, go kill these guys. I don't want, because I mean, like, it sounds like we didn't really get any reward from it, right? Like, we killed them, we wiped our memories, went back to hunter-gatherers, and then we just evolved normally. Like, we didn't really get anything out of that other than we have the planet to ourselves now, and we can, like, evolve in our own pathway. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would be a situation where, like, okay, we kill them, we take all their technology, and we learn from it, and, you know, we take over civilization and become the apex species, and now we have this technology, and we're learning from it and expanding, but that didn't happen. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It seems kind of strange. I mean, I guess you could explain it that, yeah, this fairy being talked us into it and then they wiped our memories. But I don't know. So I would be interested to learn more about that and more of the history of that, and if there was some kind of conflict that led to humanity and this Bigfoot species to fight each other kind of a situation. Well, I think it's implied they were originally rose up to take over. The forest god helped us, and afterward we regretted what we did, so we tried to forget. I mean, again, like, I feel like there has to be some kind of catalyst to that, right? Like, were we being oppressed in some way? Were we just jealous of their technology and stature and they weren't sharing it with us? Did they attack us? Did they see us as less than? Were they using us as some kind of like slave labor or something like that, you know? Because usually there has to be something that like some kind of event or the series of events that like triggers something like that. You know what I mean? To like essentially genocide, you know, there usually has to be something that, you know, a series of events that lead up to it, you know? So I don't know. I'm not sure how the story, as in this case with real ancient history. Right. So I don't know. I'd be interested to learn more about it. But it's fascinating, the idea that, you know, they were this highly advanced species that coexisted and lived with us. They were actually greater and more advanced than us, and something happened that caused us to want to wipe them out. And I mean, 70% of their population in a single day, the day of flowers, where the sun rose and the flowers bloomed and they died. So pretty interesting. I mean, you could write a whole story just on that one day alone. Like that there could be a whole, like, you know, novel off of just everything that happened with that led up to that day and that day. So that'd be fascinating. But all right, yeah, so that's gonna do it for this video. That was SCP 1000, the exploring series. So as always, links down below in the info section for this video without my reaction and commentary, into the original channel for the exploring series. Again, we're doing this live, so if you want to join in these discussions, feel free to click the join button. See if any of the YouTube membership benefits have any interest to you. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and a sub, as it helps me and it helps the channel grow. And I just greatly appreciate your time coming in, checking out the video on the channel, and hope you enjoyed your time here. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.